What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Fun with Friends podcast. I'm your host, Allie. Everyone has a list of things they've always wanted to do. For some, it's a bucket list, and for others, it's the things that they want to try, but they keep making excuses not to. Maybe it's because you don't have the time, or the money, or because you just don't want to go alone. Or maybe you're like me, and are just really good at making excuses and finding reasons not to put yourself out there. The Fun with Friends podcast is all about getting out there, exploring, trying new things, and chasing happiness. Join me, Allie, and my friends as we work through our list of things we've always wanted to try, and as we go on adventures and discuss the meaning of happiness and friendship. Who knows? Maybe we'll fall in love with an activity. Maybe we'll find something that brings us happiness, or maybe we find out that an aerial silks class just isn't for us. Come join the fun and hang out with my friends and me as we go on adventures and explore our city. Hi everyone, welcome to the Fun with Friends podcast. I'm your host, Allie Coots, and joining me on today's episode is my friend Katie.
Hey everybody.
Katie and I recently, we're currently still camping in the James River State Park in Virginia. It's located kind of near Lynchburg and Charlottesville, like central part of Virginia. And like I said, we're still currently sitting
Fireside
by the campfire as we record this, so you can probably hear nature and and the fire roaring in the background. We're also sipping on some lovely drinks. What are we drinking today, Katie?
Tasty beverages. Well, I'm having the Redneck Mojito, which is a little dash of some peach pecan whiskey,
Delicious.
distilled by Lick Life Spirits in Zebulon, North Carolina.
Very
good.
nice, very nice.
With some ginger ale, a little bit of Sierra Mist.
Gunshots in the background.
There
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
And then you have some apple pie.
Moonshine, which is delicious. It's quite the treat. So not only are Katie and I camping over this long weekend, but we are also visiting several sites that are near here. So we visited the Yogaville Lotus Shrine, and then we saw Poe's dorm room at the University of Virginia, and then kind of took a stroll down in the historic district of Charlottesville.
The downtown mall.
But before we go in depth into any of those adventures, let's learn a little bit more about my guest, Katie. Katie, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself. So who you are, where you're from, and a fun fact.
So my name is Katie. I'm from South Alabama, grew up on the Gulf Coast, small little seafood town. Just, decided to go out and see the world, and now live in North Carolina and try to keep up with my pals that I've made in my travels, and we try to get out and do some things and, just have a good time. Fun fact about me, I do not like green bell peppers. Will spit on them if they come near my mouth. But I will eat red, yellow, and orange ones.
So why do you despise green pepper so much, but you'll still eat the red and the yellow?
There's something about that flavor, man. It's just gross. It ain't right.
I don't know if I've ever noticed that, because I'll buy the packs that come in you get a little bit of each color.
Ones,
yeah, and I just throw them all in whatever I'm eating, and
no,
I can't tell the difference
every time. Nasty.
Interesting. I'll have to pay closer attention now as I try out the different colors of peppers. But anyways, let's just talk about food. We've had some interesting food choices this weekend as well.
We can talk about them too.
Nothing.
We won't name
healthy at all.
Names.
Nothing healthy at all. Thank God Katie came with me on this adventure, because I literally did not bring anything of worth with me.
Well, I still have an eggplant in the cooler.
Yeah, I brought
good grill it.
Jumbo marshmallows that are too big to eat. But before we get into that, I'll tell you a little bit about Katie and I and how we know each other. We met 5 years ago, I think, back in 2014, and we were both working in Mississippi, good old Biloxi, Mississippi, doing archaeology.
Digging them holes.
Yeah, just bushwhacking our way through the back swamps of Mississippi.
The worst parts.
Never know if you're going to make it out or find a murder shed somewhere back there. It was always, it was a good time. But, and I think the listeners will notice that I've got a pattern when it comes to my friends. Most of them are people that I've worked with currently or worked with in the past. But, you know, making friends as an adult is difficult.
Well, that's pretty much how you do it. Plus, I mean, especially when you have a difficult job, and that's not to say like other jobs aren't difficult and that ours is the most difficult, but there's something about archaeology that really tests the body and the spirit. And you know, so there comes a time when the people around you, unless you just genuinely cannot stand them,
they are your family.
You talk about it.
Yep, you live with them, you work with them, you hang out with them after work. Like you are all one.
They notice you're not there, they come looking for you because no man gets left behind.
Lost in the woods. But you know, now that when you change jobs, the cool thing is they're no longer work friends; they just become friends, and that's kind of what happened with Katie and I. Because I think we left at the same time from Mississippi, right? Or did you leave before me?
You left before we were finished.
Did I?
You left to go to DC before we were finished. Yeah. We had a couple more months left.
I got my notice that I was going to be let go, and so I got gone.
Deuces.
That was back in 26. Late 2015, early 2016. And I went up to DC, and you stayed in Biloxi for a while, and then kind of moved around a bit and ended up in North Carolina. And there was probably a good couple years, I think, where we didn't see each other.
I'd say it was almost 3 years.
Yeah, and then when you moved to North Carolina
and got settled in.
Yeah, and then it was a little closer because it's only like 4 hours. Yeah, 5 if traffic's bad. Katie's one of those friends which I think I can say, like, I have two people like this in my life. Katie is one, and then Leslie is the other. And you can go long periods of time without seeing them and just dropping a line every now and then. But then when you do get to hang out, it's like you haven't really missed a beat. You kind of just like fall back into that friendship. And we tried to Skype for a while, too, to just kind of like...
Yeah, it was weird scheduling and stuff.
But it was just so hard between work and travel and all kinds of stuff, but...
Well, that, you know, it's hard for me to Skype when I'm constantly staring at myself.
Yeah,
I'm like, what kind of goofy faces am I making now?
I started wearing my blue light canceling glasses. So, like, now when I talk to people on Skype, they can't even see my eyes. I feel like Elijah Wood's character in like Sin City.
Yeah.
You can't see my eyes at all. They're just glazed over. And when I met Katie,
what is it?
There's a critter in the woods. It's a possum.
Is it a possum?
Yeah, it's a possum. Do you see him?
I love possums.
Look at him.
I can't see. Oh, is he
right there. Yeah, he's crawling.
Oh, I do see him. Oh, that puppy dog gonna scare him away.
He's fat. He's coming to get our trash.
Oh boy. Look at him skittering.
Wildlife sighting. I'm killing it. Here comes the dog.
No. So we have neighbor campers.
They
have a pretty sizable critter.
Fluffy dog's going after that pup.
No dog. Play dead, little guy.
Don't get him.
Play dead.
Oh no.
Use your defense mechanism.
Okay, she got him. Oh, poor little possum.
Well, I'm sure he just played dead for a minute.
Yeah. Cute. We're killing it on the wildlife sighting. We've seen
North America's only marsupial.
I know. People are so mean to them, though, because they're weird. They're kind of gross looking, and they eat trash.
I love their little creepy hands.
I know.
Man.
They're like little people hands.
But you know...
And then they carry their little babies on them. It's adorable.
You know, I love their hands. Can't stand a little, like, Capuchin monkey's hands. No, sir, Bob. Don't touch me with those.
Another fun fact.
Don't touch me with those.
Possum hands are fine, but... Monkey hands, no.
No, because they're too much like people's, but they're not people's. Too much like a human, but just off so that it's not right. Like your brain can't accept it.
That's quite right, and it like freaks you out. But
you'll have to do some research. You can plug that in. Editor Allie plugs it in.
That's not going to happen. All of this is staying in. Not going to happen. But we've seen like what? We've seen like, I don't know, a good amount of deer. Lots of deer.
We
saw. What else have we seen?
Bunnies. Lots of
bunnies.
Little bunnies.
Saw
buzzards.
Lots of buzzards. We've now seen a possum.
That's a good one. I like that one.
You spotted a tiny little lizard.
And a lizard.
Like the same color of the road that we were walking on. I have no idea how you saw that. And I felt like we saw something else that was pretty sweet, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh, maybe we didn't. I don't
remember. I was gonna say one of the things that I enjoy the most about like hanging out with Katie is that she is very spontaneous, or more spontaneous than I am, and always up to like go on an adventure and see things. And I'm not like that at all, really. I like to plan everything out and have an idea of what's going on. And so when I go and visit Katie, it's really nice to just be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. We'll do whatever. Just lead the way. I will follow. And that's always a good time. Some of the things that we've done in the past that have been pretty sweet was, I don't know if we'd known each other for a long time when we went to the 311 concert.
No, we couldn't have, because if I started in 2014, right?
Yeah.
And then it had to be in before you left, which was around the end of 2015. So several months later in the summertime.
Yeah,
and that was really spontaneous. It was like the day before or something.
Yeah, you were just like, you want to go to this 311 concert? It's in
Lake Charles,
Louisiana, which was like a
7-hour drive. I can't remember.
And it was outside at like a casino, and it had a lazy river, and I was like, yes. Like, how could I say no to possibly just like float in a lazy river and listen to 311? We left work early. I think it was someone's going away party, and we kind of skedaddled out of there.
That's right, we did.
Yeah, we were kind of like, yeah, hi, sorry you're leaving, bye. And then we just like, those gunshots are getting closer.
They're just very regular, so I figure, they're not out of passion. We'll be all right.
Someone is target practicing somewhere in the near vicinity. Yeah, so we just spontaneously decided to go to this 311 concert. And in the South, weather is always a good time in the summer. And on our way there, well, first off, what type of car do you drive?
So at the time, I had a little Mazda Miata 2-seater convertible soft top.
Tiny car.
Tiny car. That was my baby, and like to scoot in it. So I knew we'd make good time. I knew we could get out of there and make it in time for the show. And I knew it might rain on us, but I was like, it's going to be all good. And then we start hitting I-10 past New Orleans and getting to Baton Rouge, and that's when
Gatornator happened.
Set upon us. I mean, really.
it was insane.
You couldn't see 2 feet in front of the vehicle, and that big old limb or something that come and hit the front of the car.
Yeah, there was like a piece of a tree. I mean, not only was the car like hit by a piece of tree, but you could see like branches flying in front of us. And there was this big ass semi next to us, but you could like barely see it.
It was so crazy.
And in the tiny car, I'm like, we could totally like Fast and Furious and like slide underneath this thing sideways and just like go with it. And we were also on, I think, like a raised bridge or something at the time.
At some point, yeah. When you gotta cross over toward Baton Rouge to get over there, you gotta take that big old.
I had no idea that was even happening though until we started back home, and I was like,
we did this yet.
There's a bridge here that we drove over that I didn't know. But it was crazy. It was just like a whiteout of rain, like white squall.
But we had somewhere to be.
We were not missing 311.
No, we were going.
And so we get there and we get in, and the concert was postponed because of course it was storming.
It had been raining, yes.
And there was like lightning, so they were, worried for the safety.
Because it was outside. And we just all stood out there, and I had some friends that I knew from the 311 circuit. We were all just kind of out there waiting, just wet as we could be.
It was a good time though. It was so much fun. And I don't know if I had done anything like that in, I don't know, maybe ever. Like, I think that's what maybe got me back into kind of going to concerts, because I hadn't been to one in a long time, and that was such a blast. Like, it was so much fun.
That was a good show.
I think the ride back was uneventful, but it was a great show.
Yeah, until we kind of, made asses of ourselves by molesting their
animal
statuary out at the visitor center.
I mean, if there's a statue of a gator on the ground, you better bet your ass I'm gonna wrestle it. Like, you can't pass that up. Cannot pass it up. But that was a really good time. And then other times we've hung out, we've done pretty chill stuff.
What I love is that my place can be an oasis for you, and vice versa. I can show up and we can just hang out and not do anything, or we can do something.
Just great. It's like super. Like the last time I came over, we just like made bushwhackers and just sat near your house and chilled outside and just had like a really nice chill time.
I want to say we were watching something in particular.
Yeah, we did.
What it was.
I think it was Super Troopers 2.
Oh yeah.
Which was great.
Okay.
I mean, can't complain. But then, and you also were kind enough to drive the 4.5-5 hours to come to King's Dominion for my birthday, the Halloween haunt.
No, that's halfway between us. That's
it's only
2.5 hours. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like it's longer than that for me, but probably just because I'm impatient.
It feels like it. Yeah.
I don't want to drive the whole way.
Yeah.
But that was pretty great. That was hilarious. Like,
glad you enjoyed yourself.
I've never laughed so hard. Like, I love going, like, I go to King's Dominion Halloween Haunt every year, which there will be an episode for this year, believe me. But I had not gone to a haunted house ever with you. I don't think I've ever done anything remotely scary with you before. And we went to the Halloween Haunt, and it was the best because you were laughing hysterically through every single haunted house, which made me laugh hysterically. And I don't think the people in, like, the actors and the houses knew what to do.
Well, it's because they don't understand. And most people don't understand what's happening. It took me a while to understand it. So what's happening is, when I get, like, freaked out like that, like, creepy heebie-jeebie stuff, like, not, like, full-on, there's a murder in the house kind of stuff, like, for real, I gotta be moving into action. But, like, heebie-jeebies, it gives me the will. I will start laughing as my defense mechanism, because I'm just like, I don't like this, make it go away.
It's like a nervous tick.
Yeah, it's just my nervous reaction. So I just start laughing, and then what that does is they see somebody laughing, they're like, oh, they're not taking this seriously. They think this is a joke. Oh, they're just, oh no, we're scary.
And then they mess with you
more. And then
more.
so they come at me, and that's when I'm just like, that one kid was up on my neck.
Yes, and I was right behind you, just dying.
And so I just stop, and I'm just like bent over, laughing my ass off, and the one kid just like creeps up behind me and says, please don't pee on yourself. And I was like, first off, motherfucker, I'm a 34-year-old lady. And I did not wear my Depends, so that's a possibility. Okay.
I try not to pee on myself in public.
I ain't sneezing, so we good. Whatever. But yeah, they like to come at me. That was something I learned, like, a long time ago.
Oh my God. It was really, truly one of the best Halloween, not only one of the best Halloween haunts that I've gone to, but one of the best birthdays I've had in a while, just because it was it was just pure joy watching you get tortured by these people. It was amazing.
So glad my torture entertains you. You know what what we didn't remember, though? Your other birthday adventure, which was to Harry Potter World.
Oh my
gosh, Adventure Island.
Yes. Yeah, so we were both working in Florida for hurricane recovery, and it was during my birthday, and I had maybe pulled some strings to get Katie deployed there too to work with me. And we went to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
And it was the wonderful wizarding world of Harry Potter. And I had never been to a theme park before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my first. I'd been to like Six Flags, but never like a
big one.
Yeah, and like King's Dominion, but yeah.
Well, I mean, they're pretty decent.
Yeah. But this was like, I felt like this was my first like real.
Yeah.
This was it. And Katie came along.
I did. Side note: I am not like epic Harry Potter fan or anything. I'm into wizards, witches, fantasy, all that kind of stuff.
Did it turn you into a Harry Potter fan?
No.
Oh, okay.
Watched all the movies, did that kind of thing. I just never it's just one of the things. It's like it came out at a time when I was reading other stuff, and I just, I'm into it in that it entertains me. I just finished listening to Mike Schubert read the entire fucking Harry Potter series on
Potterless. Yes, fantastic
podcast.
Fantastic podcast. If you're a Harry Potter fan and you have not listened to Potterless,
go
you
fucking listen.
Have to. He's so freaking hilarious, and it's amazing.
But yeah, so I mean, it's something I know. I got a lot of friends that really was like formative for them. So I was gonna have a good time. I had been to that set of theme parks before. It did not have Harry Potter at it at the time. I was really disappointed Dueling Dragons had been taken out. I was like, no. But I enjoy going to theme parks. I like riding roller coasters, which
I do not.
Allie does not.
I hate roller coasters. I literally cry when I'm on them.
You didn't cry on the Hulk. You did good.
No, I did like the Hulk. That was like, I think that's one of the only roller coasters I would go on again. And I think it's because it's fast and it's over quick. And it doesn't have the thing that creeps me out the most is like the slow climb up and then the like vertical drop to your death. I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Like if I wanted to experience that, I'd be in a plane crash. Like I'm just not into it. Like I don't. And at least in a plane, I've got like a roof over my head. Whereas I don't like roller coasters. I don't like.
But you did good. You even went on one for
when we were at the Halloween Haunt.
The Halloween Haunt for me on your birthday. You suffered a little bit too. Look at that.
I cried on that one for sure.
That was it felt rickety as fuck.
That was
Can I cuss on this?
Yeah, you're fine. Sure, why not? Please do.
Explicit.
But Harry Potter World was
that was really good.
I mean, I think I had a very real sense of like being a child again. Like I bought myself a interactive wand. I was like pushing kids out of the way to get to those windows. Like,
well, you had to, because they was sassy.
Those kids.
And taking it over.
Excuse me, ma'am, are you done yet? Don't call me ma'am, and no, I am not. I'm trying to do some magic
Get
here.
Get your little road behind, out of my way.
But it was so much fun. And I think the best part of that was when we were in Ollivander's wand shop, and they do this whole production where they pick someone out of the crowd, and you know, they go through the wand choosing, and they pick this little girl.
Oh, dude.
And the wand.
I had a straight tear just like tracked down my face.
I cried. I was like, this is so magical for her. She's going to remember it for like the rest of her life. And I literally was like crying. And I was trying to hold it in.
Right? You're just like, I'm so stoic right now. This is not affecting me.
But I heard like other sniffles, and I was like, I'm not the only one.
No,
we were all there for the magic.
Yeah.
Like, it was the shit. And then Dr. Seuss Land. Also amazing.
So cool. Okay, well,
and deserted.
Real quick. Yeah. Let's track back to what a beautiful moment that was. This little girl gets her wand, and she's so excited. And then as they're leaving,
the guy's like, "Where's the money?"
By the way, that'll be $57.95.
He's like, "My sales associate will talk to you about your wand purchase."
You know, like you've already sold it to the child. Yeah. She's already had a magical experience. Now these poor parents got to fucking pay for this motherfucker.
They have to.
They can't even buy her the plain one. They got to buy her this thing.
It's a wonderful,
like the
business.
Ferrari of wands.
It's a good business plan.
Jeez.
Could you imagine that child's heartbreak if her parents were like, no.
That's what I'm saying.
You're not getting that wand.
That's messed up, yeah. But then, yes. Then we went to Dr. Seuss
Getting
Land.
that money.
Because after the Hulk, you know, you had rightly put your foot down and said, I'm not up for any more of those roller coasters there. And so, you know, on our way back, we just decided to hit up Dr. Seuss Land, which all the colors and shapes.
Deserted.
Yeah.
And we went on the what's it called? Like the merry-go-round?
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, good times. Yeah, so we have done. I forgot about.
I had completely forgot.
How could I forget about Orlando?
I know, right?
Yeah, not only do Katie and I go on great trips together, but Katie is kind of like a hardcore solo tripper. Like in comparison to me, like I don't like to do solo trips. I like to go with people. And when I travel, I like to map out my route, and I want to get there as soon as possible with the least amount of stops. And that's not really your style. Like you usually, I think you do. I think you're pretty planned in it. Like you get on like Atlas Obscura, which is where we found some of the sites that we went to on this trip. And so you go on there and you find like little weird areas and just kind of do these solo road trips and have some pretty cool adventures.
Yeah, especially when I was traveling for work. I mean, it would just you'd go places, and so you'd meet a whole lot of new people in the offices, but a lot of times the age demographic wasn't quite, you know, at
retirement age versus college age.
It wasn't really right at my level necessarily. I'm kind of in the middle of the road. I also have very specific tastes and things I like to do. You know, I really like geology, archaeology, history, weird, just kind of, you know, as much as I say I use laughter as a defense mechanism and hate creepy stuff, I like to go visit creepy stuff.
Abandoned places.
Yeah, just kind of like off the wall type things. And then also just going and seeing like waterfalls, and, you know, if there's a natural kind of environment that needs exploring, like, you know, I want to go see that place, because what's the point in going to the mall when I can go to that same mall, you know, 1,000 miles away? Because sometimes that's what it would be like. Hey, do you guys want to go this weekend out because it's supposed to be nice? Like, it's in the middle of winter in the Midwest and it's been snowing the whole time, but it's finally like a day when we can actually go somewhere. I'm like, hey, do you want to go somewhere? Like, oh yeah, you want to go to the Allen Mall? Nah, that's not where I want to go.
Yeah, because you can go there. No. You can go to that anywhere.
I want to drive down and see where Captain Kirk's future birthplace is going to be. All right, so none of them were down with it.
They were like, no. Who's Captain Kirk?
Right? Is that a Star Wars thing? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go right over here. But yeah, so I do, when I was traveling a lot on my own, you know, obviously I would go off every now and again. I'd meet somebody just super cool, toots in point, yeah. And you know, it'd be a team member. We'd go out and do things together. Now that I'm home a lot more, you know, I try to convince the husband he needs to go with me. He does not like being hot or around bugs, so
not so much.
Not so much a lot of outdoor stuff, but we do go hit up some little weird things here and there that we can find, you know, or take a motorcycle ride to, and that's always fun.
Yeah, you did a cool little trip in Florida. It was like an abandoned shrine. Is that what it was?
Oh, okay, no. So,
because you sent me, Katie also takes, she does like the Insta Polaroid.
Oh yeah.
So when she goes on these little like outings, she'll take little pictures, and every now and then I'll get like a I'll get a card in the mail, which is also something I very much appreciate about Katie.
Physical mail.
Physical mail, because there's nothing better than getting something from someone in the mail.
When you're not expecting it.
It's just out of the blue. And so she'll always have these little packages that she'll send me, and there's, you know, there's usually like a Polaroid or two of like your latest shenanigans. And I always enjoy that. I hang them on my fridge. Yeah. Like I have a picture of you with your head inside of the shark
mouth.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of Harry Potter. I
thought
of the shark mouth. But yeah, that was like a crazy thing that I drug a couple of the gals on. That was a really good disaster to have worked on, just because the crew in my particular location was really great, and I still talk to those gals all the time. And we still plan to see each other. You know, like we try to get in touch and stop by and see each other. So that was a crazy place. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. Another thing I like to do is find like the creepiest, weirdest place that's also on the National Register, because at some point somebody in the National Park Service said, this is so important,
we need to save this.
It has to be put on the National. Like, are you kidding me? What are you talking about?
There's some creepy stuff
on
there.
Like the Axe Murder House in Iowa, Villisca, Iowa. That,
I mean, you need to save that. It needs to be documented.
But so this
place is a part of history.
It's called the Coral Castle, and this fella from Eastern Europe somewhere came to the States. Story was he had fallen in love with some gal, and then they told him he had tuberculosis, so he left and came over here. And then he decided that he was going to build her a castle to show her love from him. Come to find out, it was all like a one-sided thing, maybe based on some of the letters they had found.
He's
like
a little bit of a stalker,
making it up in his brain or something. But the whole what's crazy about it is this place is not actual coral. It's fossiliferous limestone that has been excavated out of local like quarry areas, and then even right there on site, and it's all open space. Like there's no roof. There's only like one tower with a roof on it, and that's where he slept and lived while he worked on it. The crazy part about it is, how did he build this thing? He's got these huge blocks of stone, some of them 9,000 ton or something. I mean, you're talking insane numbers. And some people lean towards, you know, the aliens taught him how to use like electromagnetism or something. Like there's
It's like Easter Island and the pyramids, man. It's all aliens.
But it was really good, and I've got some really great photos of me with his cutout that I feel like, you know, we really connected. Me and old Ed.
Just put that, frame it and put it in your house somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I've got the little Christmas ornament, you know, I keep it on the tree.
Gosh, even better. Even better. I love it. I love it so much.
Old Ed.
So we kind of took a page out of Katie's travel notebook for this trip. Like we have been trying to link up for a while and just schedules, and so over this long weekend we decided that we would go camping, and then, you know, we checked out Atlas Obscura, and there were
and Roadside America. I like to look at them too. You tend to see some weird stuff on there.
Yeah, and there were like a good
TripAdvisor's helpful too.
I don't know, like 10 to 15 places kind of in the area.
Yeah, because the problem is we're on this little spot in the park. The park is, to get anywhere, you have to just go out and around, and so going anywhere is quite a drive. So
it takes like an hour or two.
Yeah, we tried to pick places that were kind of close, and then some of them just weren't really that interesting to us. I mean, there were some that I just really didn't feel like, you know.
Yeah.
What do we care?
Would have been worth it. So we did decide on, we went to the Light of Truth Universal Shrine, the Lotus Shrine, dedicated to the light of all faiths and to world peace, which is located in Buckingham, Virginia. And that was
about 20 minutes down the road from us.
Yeah,
right?
Not bad at all. Well, actually, before we get into this, let's talk a little bit about day one at the park.
Okay.
So James River State Park, pretty remote. Zero cell service. So if you're in trouble, you're fucked.
At least 10, 15 miles out, you got no cell service.
Yeah, no one's gonna know where you've gone or what's happened to you. It's very The Hills Have Eyes, or Wrong Turn. Wrong Turn, that's the one I was thinking of, like the entire time we were out here. But absolutely beautiful. Like
lovely.
we got a spot that was, we call it Murder Lake, because it's like this
branch pond.
Pond, yeah. And it, you know, there are like 7 spots down here. It's very quiet. Like we're probably the loudest ones right now. And then we kind of drove through the entire park the first day, or at least all the camping areas. And there are a lot of really good spots, like right by the river. And you can rent canoes, you can go tubing, a lot of fishing, like just a really...
There's equestrian trails. They got all the amenities necessary for camping with your horses.
Yeah, lots of hiking trails too.
Nice cabins, real nice.
Very nice cabins. Like some of the cabins fit like 15 people. They're huge. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's an absurd amount of people. On that first day, we had like a nice little, we went down to the river. We had a moment where we thought maybe we were being attacked by a bear.
Oh, yeah.
That was like
some definite chuffage.
Like, yeah, there was like
that really sounded like a bear.
There was a noise happening, and then someone like screamed in the distance, and I was like, this is it. Like, we're gonna die out here. Like, we need to leave now.
Turns out it was a children's birthday party.
Yeah, it was like someone just like having a good time in the back of, like, in a truck or something, and I was like, we're gonna die out here. We need to run. Everything was fine. Nothing was happening. And then we like ate dinner down by the river. A wonderful dinner of tuna out of a can and
some little mandarins, some halos, you know.
But it was very pleasant.
Yeah, we got to watch the bats and watch the river flow by. Yeah,
it was a really great. Great. But we're gonna pause for a moment so we can drop some more wood on the fire here. We're getting kind of that too. So we will be back in a moment. All right, we are back. The fire is ablaze. We have replenished our bevies so we can have a little more fuel.
The refills in hand.
So yeah, that first day, I guess, on site was quite pleasant, very chill. And then setting up camp was super easy, actually, though, because like you have like a teepee tent, which I've never seen before or used before, and it was like the quickest tent setup I have ever taken part in. Like 5 minutes.
It's got one stick.
5 minutes maybe.
It's getting all your stakes in. Really, is what it is.
Yeah, so it was like super easy. But we soon found out that we were not alone in our camp. We had. I made the mistake of setting out a lantern that was very bright.
Yeah, it had one of those LED lights in it.
And the bugs.
Oh man.
Not just like any bugs, but these giant. It was like a bumblebee, wasp, like.
It was some meat and shit. Like, I don't know what's going on.
It was huge.
It was massive.
They're huge. They're probably like a good like what 2 inch.
The only good thing is they weren't actually like aggressive.
Yeah, they weren't trying to sting us.
They were just here wanting to know what was going on, saying, "Hey, what are you doing in my space?"
But they were like it sounded like an entire swarm of bees, and really it was like 2.
Yeah, buzzing the tower. Like what?
But then they were trying to get into the tent, so they just like kept hitting the outside, trying to get in. And I will say the one downside of like our camp location is that we are like 5 steps away from the shitter, which it's a primitive outhouse.
Yeah, primitive outhouse. Fairly decent for what we're talking about here, but at the same time,
she's a bit stanky on a hot day.
It's an outhouse,
like,
right.
There's a bit of a smell, and
it's not that bad, but still not great.
And the bees apparently like the outhouses.
Oh god,
because I attempted to use it towards the end of the night, and they were just all on the door trying to get into the outhouse, and then I got trapped in the restroom with one of the bees, and I just kept waiting for it to like knock itself out on the wall so that I could use the bathroom. But I peed in terror more than out of need.
Right, you can't even go in there and have a moment.
No, it was
very stressful. Very stressful.
They were everywhere. But like tonight,
they seem bad. I think we just upset them last night with a lot of moving around, and then the light. I think so this evening when we got back from our travels, we were able to kind of really get set up with what we were going to be doing for the evening without having to turn on any lights because it wasn't dark yet.
Yeah.
And now we've got the fire going. We've got us some, kind of like little bug repellent sticks like smoking around.
Yeah,
just kind of doing their thing.
Katie knows how to fucking camp.
They're just like not messing with. They don't want to fuck with us tonight.
Yeah.
They're fine with us now.
So it's been thankfully pretty chill tonight. I haven't been buzzed by any like weird leaf bugs falling out of the sky like last night.
We did see a tick though, and
so I love the outdoors. But so that was like day 1. So today is day 2, and we went, like I said, we started our day at the Lotus Shrine.
Easy start, nothing too crazy. Didn't have a
short little
specific
drive.
Get up time, and just kind of ate some breakfast, moseyed on over there. Had no signal for mapping, so that was
probably the
hilarious.
Most stressful part of it for me. Anyways, I was like, we're gonna get lost on a backcountry road in bumfuck nowhere, Virginia, and we're gonna die out here.
No, we found it.
But we did find it. But Yeah, we were on like dirt roads, like abandoned auto shops, like, I don't know.
You want a nice cup of murder?
Yeah. Oh, you have a flat tire? Yes, come in, let me kill you. But you know, it ended up okay. Ended up all
We
right.
made it there.
You did a little research on the shrine.
I did.
So I did not. You tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so for the life of me, the gentleman's name is quite long, and I would butcher it if I wanted to.
I'll drop some of the details into the description of the podcast.
But so what it is you had this gentleman, a Swami, I believe they're called, from over India, that kind of general vicinity. He came to the States in the 60s, and I want to say that I read that he actually did the opening ceremonies for Woodstock, but I could be wrong. But so that's what I think I read. Anyway, so he decided he wanted to stick around. He bought this property in Virginia and built this place up, possibly the 70s. Once again, I did a quick read.
I'm gonna say I'm looking real quick.
But what really kind of struck me was that, you know, he felt like this was the best place for him to start, you know, just building a space for people that you didn't really see here in the United States, which was kind of an all-inclusive...
Because it's all religions.
Yeah,
like around the world.
What was it? There are many ways but one truth, or something. There's one truth in many ways, or something like that. You know, that's kind of how they look at it. So, you know, they welcome all people, and now it's just this really great, just whole kind of area. I mean, it's an insane kind of complex.
It's beautiful. And
where you can go and you can do specific classes or workshops. You can stay for months doing their farming program, or a few weeks learning how to do vegetarian cooking and all that kind of stuff. And everyone is there to either enrich themselves or just to kind of be at peace. Like, the energy was really, I felt like, really kind of cool. And everybody's super
Everyone
nice.
was so nice. Like,
Super
that
nice.
was, I was telling Katie, I felt a little uncomfortable because I didn't think I was like a nice enough person to be like in their presence. But like, we parked, like the parking lot was full. Like, they have like dorm rooms or, you know, kind of, yeah, like dorms. And like, we parked and we walked in there, and the very first person we met was like, introduced herself, said good morning, was like very pleasant. And she was like, you know, enjoy your day and definitely stop in here because, you know, they'll have maps for you and more information. And yeah, people were just like,
yeah,
super
especially
pleasant.
for tourists. You know, like somebody coming in and not really planning on partaking in any sort of ceremonial thing that they have going. And by ceremony, I mean any of the yoga classes or anything like that they have doing. Yeah, meditation. You know, it really, we were just visiting. We were just kind of stepping into their world and kind of disrupting things a bit, because you know, we're not typically dressed like everyone who is there going to be dressed. You know, they just all took it in stride, and were really very happy to have us, and really kind of just gave us everything we needed to pick what we had time for, what, you know, what we were able to fit into our day.
Yeah, and so here's a little bit of information, and this is from one of their pamphlets that we got while we were there. So the shrine is built in the shape of a lotus flower, and which it is pink and blue, and the actual design of the building, yeah, it's a gorgeous like dome shaped building.
Unfortunately undergoing some restoration work right now, but
kind of like one of the cons, or not a con, but maybe a little, I was a little disappointed that not all of the
water features
were up and running. It definitely looked like they must have had some type of like water damage. They were repairing some of the dome.
Obviously like pretty bad.
Yeah, but so you walk through this archway and you follow along a fountain feature. Everything is aligned in a straight line. So there were actually three shrines.
3 shrines at that location.
Yeah, so there was like the big lotus shrine
at the bottom of the hill on a lake overlooking the James River.
Yeah, so just gorgeous. And of course I'll post photos so everyone can see it. And then like if you're at the lotus shrine and you turn around, you can look up the mountain and there are 2 other shrines. And the first one, I believe she said, was a Hindi shrine?
No, so the first one is where the Swami is entombed.
Oh, entombed. That's
so correct. When he died, you know, that's where he got put there. And so it's really like a very kind of spiritual place for them. She said that if we went, you know, a lot of people go there to kind of get a pick-me-up and like good energy.
There's a lot of good vibes up there.
There's a really good story about him being interred there on the website, if anybody's interested in that. I just thought it was like a really cool story.
Yeah, and again, I'll link the website below too for anyone that's interested. And then you continue to climb like a million
A
stairs.
bazillion
like,
stairs.
We,
oh my God.
We stopped and we looked and we were like, nah.
Nope,
we're
not
doing
today.
that. Like, it's too many damn stairs.
Now that's the open
Too
air
many stairs.
Hindu one.
Yes,
That's what that one is.
Interior of the shrine is in the bottom. It's little like cases or exhibits, I guess, of different world religions. And so that's really cool. And it's a place of silence. Like, you're supposed to be quiet, you take off your shoes. If you're not in like modest clothes, they provide you with
just a piece of fabric you can wrap around like a sarong. Like I had on shorts, not real short shorts, but just to, you know, kind of make sure I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes. I wrapped myself with the sarong. So
and so you can kind of like peruse the bottom part, and then the upstairs is where they do the meditation.
It looks like a spaceship.
It is definitely like a spaceship. Like it
so
was,
crazy.
but the thing was like I walked up the stairs and my head was immediately like heavy, like almost like my sinuses got full. Like it was, you know, just or like stuffy. Maybe.
Which is something we talked about, you know, especially with the work they're doing. It was hard to tell if that was coming from some of their water damage issues. You could definitely tell the carpet right there in the entryway still had some spotting to it. And you know, they're going to get, because everything smelled very clean. There was no musty odor. It was just, I think that they are still really like working on getting all of that taken care of.
Yeah. And
or is it
the presence?
The presence. And the way that the lights are set up. I mean,
it was
literally just so crazy in there.
How do we describe this? So it's, you know, it's a circular room, and in the middle is
with like alcoves though, so it's like
so for each of the religions.
So if you see the photograph of the building and you see how it has each of those lotus blossoms going around the blue center, each of those blossoms is like an alcove space, right? And so you have, each religion has its own little stand with like a saying, like one of their kind of tenets.
Yep.
And that goes around the room, and then anyone who wants to meditate in there can just, so there were a few people meditating,
so it was like I didn't want to breathe.
We were trying to be very respectful.
Yeah, I didn't want to, and they seemed like they were like deep.
Yeah, they were deep into it.
And I didn't want to like mess with anyone's vibe. So, but then in the center of the room, there's like, I don't know, an altar, I guess.
I mean, I guess if you wanted to place,
it was like the center point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just maybe to give you like a focal.
Yeah, but then there was this giant white, so it was like
a pillar of light.
A pillar of light that turned red at the top.
But it was a tube. It was definitely like a tube. Yeah.
For sure. So it was like this giant like fluorescent white tube shooting up to the top of the dome, and then it was red.
It had like red kind of like almost drape like. It kind
like
of made a flower.
It
kind of like did a thing right there. But then like these blue white light, like just
like they reminded me of the lights that people put on like the bottoms of their cars.
Like
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it came down like almost in between each one of the
just like shooting off the center point. Yeah, and so it was really cool.
Yeah, it just created this whole like kind of you walk into a space.
Yeah,
like you were in a space.
To me, I was like, this is like the focused energy going up into the sky, and then like shooting out and like covering everyone else.
Yeah, just coming back down.
Yeah, and so it was like really cool. But I stood in there and I was like, I don't feel like I can breathe because I don't want to disturb people. My head's super stuffy, and like I felt a little uncomfortable just in general because I was like,
we were just kind of there to like
I didn't want to
really
mess with anyone.
And see. We didn't want to kind of harsh anybody's vibe.
Yeah, but it was super cool. They started building the Lotus like in 1980, and then the actual Lotus itself in 1982, and then they finished it in 86. But you know, all that information and everything's on their website, which again I'll link to, but
which you should read because I cannot remember for shit.
Yeah, I was like, I like glanced at it a little, but then I was like, you know, we'll figure it out when we get there. It'll be fine.
I'm really interested in going back. I'd like to go back and do some of the actual like weekend stuff.
The yoga retreats. I would love to do that.
And there's so much like hike, the little trail that we took. So this is the thing. This is one of those times where
tell us the story of how
having the right individual with you on an adventure matters a lot, because they gave us, said, oh, here's the map, feel free to get there however you want. Now once we got the map, we realized that there was a way for us to get in the car, drive down the road a little bit, and then drive a road down there. But then there was also a little trail from that main visitor center building down to the road that you would then be driving on, and you'd get on it about halfway, and then you'd walk the rest of the way. Now to me, I figured, we were going to be in the car a lot,
maybe
why
we should
do some walking? Because we didn't really explore on foot a whole lot of the state park. We knew we weren't going to be doing a whole lot of the trails here, unfortunately. So I was like, you know what, let's get a little bit of feel for this. Plus, you know, like I said, it felt like kind of the right thing to do. The energy was feeling good in that place. It wasn't real hot. You know, all right, let's do it. So we did it. Totally worth it. Ran into some more bees.
Did not have the right footwear on.
No.
I had Croc flip-flops on. Which, you know what, though, I was telling Katie, I did bring hiking boots with me, but I've never been more comfortable on a hike than I was today in my Crocs. Like,
yeah, for something short like that, I mean, you know, just be comfortable.
It was, but yeah, we did run into a tree full of bees.
And it was definitely a hive there,
like,
for sure. Real bees too, stingers out, ready.
Like, and Katie, you know,
I'm allergic to bees.
She's allergic to bees, so I'm like, you got your EpiPen in that there pineapple fanny pack that you know it. I was like, this is not the place for you to die.
No, we would be stuck out in the middle of nowhere. Still no cell phone signal, by the way.
Yes. But it was like it was a very chill, pleasant walk, and was just so pleasant. It was amazing.
Very nice.
And yeah, so we took a lot of pictures, walked around, like saw a tiny lizard. It was
spent a lot more time there than I think we had originally planned to.
Yeah, I kind of figured it would be like a quick in and out, but it was definitely, I think, more of the highlight of the day.
Yeah, more of an experience.
Yeah, and so from there, we continued our experience with no roadmap to Charlottesville, where I'm a big, like, Edgar Allan Poe fan. You know, anything dark and gloomy, a little bit of morbid, I'm a fan. When I saw on Atlas Obscura that you could go and see Edgar Allan Poe's dorm room at the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, I was 110% on board with that. Like, really, really, I was like pumped about it. I don't know what I was expecting, but I was like definitely wanted to go and see it. And so that was stop one when we got into Charlottesville, and that just getting there was a nightmare. Like, the roads don't make any goddamn sense.
Well, and it's UVA, like all the kids are coming back into school.
So many kids. Parking was
nightmare. Like trying to figure out like how we were supposed to park, because we found where his dorm room was, but then how do we find where to park, and
like parking in the general area,
and then trying to walk over from there to get where we had been. And we had seen some places we might have wanted to go back to at some point. We did not end up doing that.
Like some good food places.
Yeah, we skipped out on those.
Missed out on some good dumplings.
So by then, I think we had not actually had like real food. We had our little breakfast here, and it was
2:30.
I think we were at Poe's at like 1:30.
Oh, okay, 1:30-ish.
Yeah, and we had some like road food, you know, Slim Jims.
Snapping to a Slim Jim.
Got that Gatorade in there.
Oh, yeah. We needed to hydrate because, you know, us being unprepared, we went on that little hike.
We didn't have any water with us.
No water, because who needs water?
It was all good. We weren't dying, but it was nice to have some liquid.
It was good to get some fluids after our little excursion. Yeah. But yeah, so we eventually found parking, and then we had to navigate the campus, which
children everywhere.
I was gonna say, I don't know, you know, as a 33 and 34-year-old cruising around a campus with like a camera around your neck, it felt very out of place and uncomfortable.
We felt like all the moms and dads who were there.
Yeah, but I also felt like I was being judged, which I wasn't. And
nobody was.
Mind you, we're both in like,
nobody cared.
Like Katie's wearing a self-made tie-dye shirt.
Yeah, peasant top.
I've got like a gray and neon yellow shirt on and like torn-ass jeans. Like we were looking. We haven't showered in a couple days. We're looking a hot fucking mess. And all these college kids, I felt old.
They're all walking with their phones in front of their faces. Nobody was paying attention to that.
Old. But yeah, we finally made it to Poe's dorm room, which I didn't realize.
Very interesting setup.
Very interesting. I did not realize that current students would live in those historic dorms. Yeah. And they've placed like a plexiglass cover over his dorm room. Which my understanding is it's not any of his actual stuff. It's just how he may have had his room set up at the time. And you know, they've thrown in a bunch of like ravens and shit in there to, you know, just to.
He just had dead ravens hanging out.
You know, just to push it home that it was Edgar Allan Poe's dorm. I think for a very brief amount of time. I don't think he was there very long.
You know, that wasn't our expectations were for that. I think were a little too high.
Yeah.
We just weren't ready for that to be at what it was. But then we saw that super cute church on campus.
Beautiful church.
Yeah.
I don't know what church it was.
Is that a Gothic cathedral? I think that's got to be the way the windows.
Well, and it had the
gargoyles. Our next destination.
Yes.
From there.
Give us the lowdown of where we went.
Okay, so the next destination was a local bookshop, which we later found out to be called New Dominion. Okay, New Dominion. And the reason why we wanted to go there is because there's supposed to be a rose garden on the backside.
It's very beautiful. supposed to be.
It was supposed to be really nice. And, unfortunately for us, it is a little late in the season. So 1 or 2 little bushes were trying.
There were a couple roses.
They had a couple of roses, but then the rest of the ones on the trellises, kind of overarching trellises, weren't doing so great. They were just kind of hanging out. No buds to speak of. So that was a little disappointing, but we did stop in. That did lead us to the historic downtown mall area, which, if you've never been, is completely shut off from cars. You can't drive east to west on it, I believe it is. There's a couple of side streets that might cross north-south through it.
Yeah.
But that's few and far between, I want to say. So we got to walk through there, see all the historic storefronts, all the little buildings they had.
So many good historic buildings.
Yeah. So much ice cream. Like, I've never seen so many ice cream parlors.
You could smell the ice cream on the air. Like, I was walking and I was like, there's a Ben & Jerry's or something around here.
There's a lot of food. Like, I thought there'd be a lot more kind of stores. There's a lot of food through there.
There was this giant antique store where we both stopped and we looked in and we were like, we can't go in there because we will never come out. Like, we will disappear into the depths of that store, and that will be the end of us.
Yeah.
We'll be gone forever.
Yes, we made the decision to not do that. But we did see some good stuff. Wandered through there. We took a chance on eating in one of the locations there. We won't name them because
it's not good.
We're not trying to be ugly about it, but we did not have the best experience. No. I really wish we had the gumption to have gone back to the dumpling place that we saw close to campus. But the traffic was just...
And there was no parking.
A full nightmare. Like, it was insanity going over there.
Got a bug.
So that was a pretty quick little trip into the downtown mall area. I mean, we just kind of popped in, we wandered until we found the bookstore.
I think we were down there for like a couple hours.
Yeah, and then got us some food.
And the bookstore itself was pretty cool, like the interior.
Got a book.
It's a pretty old building as well, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. So Katie.
Yes.
What was your favorite thing that we've done?
My favorite thing that we've done this weekend, aside from just the travel time, getting to and from, because, like I said, I like to mosey. I did stop in Farmville on my way in to go hit up one of the Artomat machines in Farmville, and I got to do that, and then just, us just kind of catching up, having that time in the car to, one, be scared shitless for our lives because these roads are insanely small and the speed limit is 45, and yet it's so hilly and twisty that doing 45 is just like, no. I felt like we were on a roller coaster. I felt like we were speeding to our deaths. I mean, you can't look away from the road for a second.
Terrifying.
So insane. So
terrifying. Just
having those really fun moments, seeing, more wildlife, deers and snakes. I think that one was dead.
Yeah,
that snake was dead.
It was dead.
Just catching up. I enjoy that. But I think if I had to say which, other than the state park, because this is really a great location.
It is a fantastic little park.
I feel like they're doing a really good job out here. Other than that, I think going to Yogaville, like the LOTUS stuff, was probably my favorite part.
I agree with you 100% on all of it. Like,
just the vibes and everything were just really chill.
And I was gonna say the same thing. Like the car ride, I think we spent like an hour and a half each way in the car, and I just love it. We get to hang out, we get to catch up, to hang out.
Get to laugh at how we almost died just then.
Yeah, it's so almost hit deer on the road. It's a good time. But yeah, the LOTUS place, like, it was just a really. I'm glad that it kind of made me go for that hike.
Well, it was
totally worth it.
It was one of those conversations like, well, do you want to walk or do you want to take the car? I mean, we could take the car. I think there's a road. And then it was like, well, I don't know. I was like, all right, if you're leaving it up to me, we walking.
No, and it was totally worth it because the weather was really like.
Yeah, it was good.
Perfect. It was beautiful out.
It was warm by the time we came back, but
even that, like, I was worried about the hike up because I was like, oh God, I'm out of shape. Steep. I'm not gonna make it. And it didn't even seem that bad. Like I was winded, but like I don't know. It was just like it was a really cool area, and I want to go back and do like a retreat, and like the idea of like just sitting in silence for like a weekend seems very pleasant.
Because they have just the silence ones.
Yeah, I like that. And I do have that on my list to go to a wellness retreat. So
okay, all right.
Maybe
I'm there for you.
We can go back.
I'm there for you.
Do that.
We will.
What was maybe your least favorite part? Besides the food.
Yeah, besides our restaurant shenaniganry. I don't know.
Or did you have one? Maybe you don't.
Yeah, I don't want to say least favorite. I just say it wasn't as enjoyable. Obviously, for me, I'm a little more out. I like a little bit slower pace, kind of just chill. Just having to be in the city, just like that whole with, and it's a Sunday and people are still just like, almost out of control. Just, and folks.
No, that was stressful.
Not paying attention to where they're going. And, and then we didn't know where we were going. So we're on the other side of the spectrum where you got people who's not paying attention, and then you have people who just really don't know where they're going. They're trying to navigate, you know, and so it was very stressful. And by that time, we were both pretty hungry, pretty tired.
We were a little hangry.
You know, pretty tired, but we're still positive spirits. You know, it was far. And then this whole trip, I've also been battling with keeping in contact with my husband.
Oh, yes.
Because, you know, he's concerned, like, are you dead? You know, because I have absolutely no cell phone signal. And there's no, you know, and they try to offer Wi-Fi here at the visitor center, but I mean, it just didn't work. I couldn't get it to actually, like, get out and do anything. So, you know, we had been having trouble. So just kind of getting there and trying to get on the phone with him. This is the first time we really had signal. And then just kind of, it was really...
Just kind of stressful.
Yeah, the vibe was totally different.
Yeah,
and having had, you know, just that kind of like really nice, cool vibe from the morning
we went
to
from like a
the
very
afternoon.
Calm space to a very chaotic space.
Yeah, it was very chaotic.
I agree. We should have just stayed at Yogasville and like had a day of it. Like we should have had lunch with them.
Yeah,
just,
they
like,
offered.
Chilled out.
They did. Once they found out we were going to hike down, they said, you know, once you come back, it'll be lunchtime. Have lunch with us. I mean, they were so very nice.
We really did cover like both ends of the spectrum, and yeah, I'd have to agree. You know, I've lost a bit of my outdoorsy because I don't camp as much, but the bees attacking me in the bathroom has been a low point for me in my life, I think. Just the sheer terror I felt.
You're like, I have to go pee.
I have to pee, and I'm trapped in the small outhouse.
I only tried it once.
A large bee.
And I ran away. And then I just peed outside the campsite.
I mean, that's the way to do it. It's far safer.
Because, no, I can't be trapped in there with bees with my pants down.
I can hear the bees now. One of them's flying around us right now.
Yeah, but he's just doing his thing.
But yeah, I agree about the going from the calm to the chaos. Like, that was definitely something that happened. So I like to ask everyone at the end of the podcast 2 questions.
Okay.
So question 1.
I didn't do it.
Lies. What is one thing that you've always wanted to do that you've never done, and why have you not done it yet? So it could be like a trip you've always wanted to take and you haven't, or, you know, do you have a list? Like I have a list at home of all these things I want to do. So it could be anything. It could be a trip.
Yeah. It's generally that's what they are trips, because I don't really have like a list.
Yeah,
I'm sure that I'd probably get more of them done if I did have one.
Places you want to go, places you want to visit.
Well, if I had to do top 3 places to visit, I would say New Zealand. Ooh. Because that's Middle Earth, baby.
Yeah, sounds like Lord of the Rings.
Man, it's so nice. I just want to go there and just roll in it.
And you've never been?
No, never been. As far as like trips, just for my own personal pleasure go, like Machu Picchu. Oh, like for real.
Good one. People,
it's a dangerous spot. Like anybody who thinks that that's just okay to go.
Altitude sickness takes out tons of people.
Yeah, if you're not ready to kind of take, you know, at your own risk. I mean, it really is not like the safest place for people to travel right now. I mean, it's
got a bug in my ear.
You know, I hate to say that, but and they're having hard times right now anyway with that whole airport shenaniganry and whatever. But so New Zealand, Machu Picchu, and then I want to say Norway. I feel like it's super beautiful. Yeah. And that
I feel like people don't come back when they go to Norway.
I probably wouldn't. Staying there.
I wouldn't. Like that would be my goal.
That or you know, Scotland, Ireland, whichever. You know, just kind of that general vicinity. I'd like to travel and visit over there.
I have my Scotland trip coming up in a couple months, and I'm so freaking excited right now. I'm so excited. It's going to be amazing.
But other than that, like, I don't really have a whole bunch of stuff that I'm just like, I have to do this, or, you know, like, if I died tomorrow, I wouldn't be happy. I tend to look at things as they happen.
Yeah.
And I can say, like, if I died tomorrow,
you'd be good.
I'd be totally good, because this right here was a good ass time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of try to take it like that.
It's a good way to look at everything, honestly. I think I need to look at it more in that way, because I definitely look at all the things I haven't done. And then that makes me feel like I've not done anything. The list can feel like
it never gets any smaller.
Yeah.
But whereas, like, those little things that you just happen upon, like, they got to mean something to you.
Yeah, they're the little adventures that make up your life. So the second question is... Okay. Because the podcast is not only about knocking things off the list, but it's also about doing it with your friends. What do you think it takes to maintain friendships?
Well, I think the most important advice I could give somebody for that is that you have to really understand who your friend is and what their communication style is. So if you have expectations of that person that even though you've been friends, you know, for years and years or whatever, what have you, that you know aren't realistic on a day-to-day basis, why are they realistic in a long term, you know, kind of separate,
in a long distance one.
You know, it's just one of those things. It's like, figure out who that person is, you know what kind of stuff they got going on, and just figure out like what you need and if
what works best.
Yes. And so like if you feel like your needs aren't being met in the friendship, because not everybody's the same, so, you know, like we get along because we are pretty similar in our communication needs and wants.
Definitely.
But you know, some
people
folks
need
are
more,
different.
some people need
and
less.
so like if you feel like you're not getting what you need out of somebody, don't be weird about it.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of go to them and say, hey man, you know, like I really feel like, you know, I know we're far apart and I know we don't see each other, and I know that you kind of are totally fine functioning at this level of communication, but I kind of need like a little bit more from you.
Just a little bit more.
And I mean, most people are totally okay with kind of bumping it up a little bit, you know, whatever. But you may be expected to say, well, all right, well, you want more from me, but you need to initiate it because I don't know when you want more from me, you know, because people can't read your mind.
Yeah, and I think it's like any relationship, right? You got to just talk it out. And I like to always say, you know, it's a two-way street. Like both of you have to be like equally in it for it to work. I think that's why we've done so well with the long distance friendship. And it was, you know, we only really like hung out for a year, a year and a half in person, I think.
And a lot of that was at work. But I mean, we were working,
you know, we were like in the trenches together.
A lot of that was pretty intense.
Bonded through the swamps of Mississippi. But I agree. I think it's important to let people know what you need in a friendship and and vice versa.
And to remember, you know, if you're going to have a long-term friendship, you are going to be through periods of time when that person changes, because all people change. Nobody stays the same.
Definitely.
So a person that may not have needed a lot of communication to be fulfilled or whatever, you know, to have trust that your friendship is still like very strong, they may need that now.
Yeah, they might have some shit happen in their life. Like they need you more than they did before.
But that's another one of those times that, you know, like folks can't read your mind.
Yeah, you gotta let them know.
So you got needs? Hey man, I got needs right now. You help me out? There you go.
Yeah. Very good advice. Well, folks, thank you for joining Katie and I on our little camping adventure. Hope you enjoy this episode. Again, I'll drop all the information about social media and links to the places that we visited in the description below. You know, as always, get out there, do some shit. Tell me about it.
Yeah, stay positive. Live your life.
Oh,
yeah, that's lovely. 311.
Oh, of course it is. All right, guys, that's it. Bye.
Bye.
I'd love to hear feedback about the podcast, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at Fun with Friends Podcast. And you can also find us on Twitter at FunFriendsPod1. So be sure to check us out. Thanks. Bye.